made today's broadcast possible. Chief Engineer Kevin Curran, Production Director Bill Kyle, from Arizona Communications, Nate Weichers. Satellite services provided by Skyview Networks. The executive producer of the Arizona Radio Network is Nikki Berry. Special thanks to Arizona Vice President and Director of Athletics, Desiree Reed-Francois. I'm Dan Levy, and this is Arizona Basketball from Arizona Sports Enterprises.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' Cay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' Cay, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockinCay.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's December in Tucson, and yes, it's cold outside. But we're here to help with our $79 furnace diagnostic service special and our $79 water heater flush that includes a free plumbing inspection. Call us at 520-492-0748 or fixrockschooling.com. And on behalf of our entire team, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Picture Rock Schooling, heating and plumbing.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona basketball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Bear down, Wildcat Nation. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. A full wrap-up on today's Wildcats contest, top takeaways, reaction from the players and head coach Tommy Lloyd, plus your thoughts on what you saw. The post-game show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. This is your home for Arizona basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Andrews down to the right wing. Checked by Bradley. 5 to shoot. Andrews, pull up, open three is no good. Long rebound, though, is loose down in the corner and grabbed by UCLA. And now they can run it out. Clark, it gets fouled. 6.1 to go.
Offensive rebound number 9 for UCLA. Could not have come at a worse time. You get exactly what you want. A poor three-point shooter taking a three-point shot.
Yeah, it just, man, that I believe was the tale of 4 games, really. The tale of 4 games, I think, is how I'm gonna start this out tonight. The first game was like the first 6 minutes of this contest today at the Footprint Center, and it was ugly, absolutely ugly for the Arizona Wildcats. They could not get out of their own way, and then they started to turn up the defense, led by Jaden Bradley, and it got a whole lot better towards the end of the first half. So that was the second stage of this game today. Then there was the third stage when the Wildcats defense really got revving to start the second half, and they began to solidify things. Built a 13-point lead in this game today. And then there was the fourth stage, was the absolute collapse down the stretch of this basketball team, shooting 2 for 16 from three-point land, committing 22 turnovers, and not being able to defend Tyler Bilodeau late in this contest. And we are sitting here right now at Willie's Taco Joint, a very disappointed Willie's Taco Joint. I think I see a lot of beer and tequila happening right now. 57-54 is the final score. The Arizona Wildcats, for a 5th time this season, have lost a basketball game. For a 5th time this season, have lost to a Division I Power 4 opponent. They are 0-5 this season against Power 4 opponents. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 if you want to get in on the program if you're back in Tucson. Heck, if you're still up here in Phoenix, hop on over. We've talked to a number of fans here since the game ended. We'll let you hear some of their comments about what happened today. Back in Tucson, we've got J.W. Madden as well as the captain, Kelvin Ifan. And I'll start with you, J.W., today. Wow, that was about as disappointing a loss as I think we've been a part of here in a while.
You know, I've been sitting in this exact same chair since 7 a.m. this morning, so the quicker we can get through this and I can get some beer and tequila myself, that would be real nice. Yeah, I mean, Rhino was very kind, and Rhino gave him a D- on that close. I'm going to say F-. I got it tracked out. You want to hear it? It was 5 turnovers, 0 for 4 from 3, 0 for 3 from 2. That's with 8:46 left to go. They had an 11-point lead, 51-40. Vasar turnover, KJ 1 out of 2 free throws. Vasar missed a 3. Bradley missed a 15-footer. Bradley missed a layup. Vasar missed a 3. Townsend turnover. Caleb missed a 3. Caleb turnover. Vasar turnover. Jaden missed a 12-footer. KJ made 2 free throws. Townsend turnover. KJ missed 3-pointer. So that's 3 free throws, Kelvin, in the last 8 minutes and 40 seconds with 5 turnovers, 0 for 4 from 3. You just got to get better shots down the stretch. Really love the defensive intensity. That's what got them that big lead, Kelvin. Yeah. But, bro, I mean, you got to get better looks down the stretch than they got.
Yeah, and guys, I know I can't question Lloyd's success for sure. But down the stretch, man, you have to have your set plays, man. I understand the open offense where the ball just finds its way, but the ball found its way into guys' hand taking terrible shots. Guys took shots that they shouldn't have been taking.
Freedom
in those times.
is great when it works, Kelvin. But like that offensive freedom, when you got here's what happened in my point of view is I really like Henry Vasar, and he turned his body, Kelvin, after the catch and shot over the top with about 10 seconds left. Now, if there's 10 minutes left in the first half, that might be a great shot. But the adrenaline flowing, it's a tight game, it's a nationally televised game, all those things. You never been in that position before. Yeah. I'm not saying don't take an open shot. Right. I'm just saying when you've try to work the ball around and get the best shot you can get. Yeah,
we know we're not making threes.
I'm not putting it at that young man's feet by any stretch. I just think that whole stretch at last 9 minutes of that game, they did not get good looks. Outside of that JB layup that rolled out, it just wasn't a lot of good looks down the stretch.
Yeah, and I'll add this too. I just felt like that in the beginning of that game, those guys brought a fight. You know, Cronin teams are gonna come and try to bully Arizona teams. Our guys have to know that, and I just didn't feel like we matched that energy from the beginning of the game. So it gave them that edge, regardless if we came back. Everybody know the ebbs and flows of the game and the runs that happen in games. So you knew Arizona was going to make a run. But the problem that I had, J-Dub, is that UCLA already knew they could sock us in the mouth. They already knew that they could throw that shot up and go beat us to that ball, right? Because that rebound, that wasn't the game, but it was the game. You have to get that rebound because now you only down 1 point. They make those 2 free throws. Now you got to get a 3. I thought not finding Caleb in there in that last shot, and KJ having to take that shot, I thought that was tough too. Maybe you have to make that pass to him, but some type of way Caleb should have got to the ball on that play and got a shot up. Whether he made it or not, fine, but at least it showed that we were trying to get it. Or Haldane also in there, right? He was 1 for 1. I mean, it was tough for him on defensive end of the court, so I kind of understand right there. But you had time. We still had a timeout?
Yeah, I think one left, yeah.
Yeah, I think we had time to get a timeout, maybe draw up something or bring
they were saving it. Like they burned the first couple and they had, one timeout, I think the last 10 minutes of the game, but I don't think they ended up using it at the end there. Well, I mean, real quick, DK, the issue, I think, the biggest issue, we got to just call it out, is that your best offensive players got to play big in these games right now because you're going to dictate what the defense is going to do. And Caleb Love, 1 for 7 from 3, 0 free throws, Kelvin. I know that's not what you want to see from him.
Only 3 attempts inside of we talked about it before. I said he has to shoot more 2-pointers, more free throws than 3s. And I don't know if it was just a tough defense. Now, man, that one little fella was playing some tough defense on Caleb. But to me, that's when you set 2 or 3 screens for your guy. Right? That's when you run the old UCLA back screen, get the back door, then run off the backside, 2 double screens, and catch the ball, then attack and get into the lane. Maybe he shot 1 floater, I remember.
Yeah.
It was a little flat over the 7-2 guy, but I don't know, man. I just feel like right there at the end of the games, man, you got to take over and run some sets.
At worst, guys,
to get the shots that you want.
At worst, the coaching staff has to devise a way when Caleb Love is seeing extra defensive attention to turn that into an open look.
That's it. That's why you run the plays, right? I'm not saying that Caleb is going to get the ball. If he comes off the screen and they double him, you got a big roll into the rim. You hit right at the rim by themselves for a score. So I'm saying use it as a way to set other guys up because Jaden Bradley said it. They took him out of their offense. Okay, so you got to go to another offense. Right? You got to go to another play. I mean, they were in the game. They had a chance to win it, so it just didn't come down to that. Of course, you make a few more shots, but UCLA only made 4 threes? They didn't make 7?
Yeah, 4, yep.
They made 4, and they shot 21. Am I wrong?
Yeah, 4 of 21.
So they shot 10 more to make 2 more. So that wasn't what killed us, J-Dub. That wasn't what killed us, DK.
No. Well, you can't miss your last 7 shots of the game. That will kill you.
Yeah.
At every level. Because how many times have we heard Kevin Durant say, this game is about shot making? And the Wildcats were up 11 and missed their final 7 shots. And they lose the game by 3 points, 57-54. All right, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We're coming to you live from Willie's Taco Joint. Stop on by, have some chips and salsa, maybe have a beer. Maybe a few shots of tequila.
What about carne asada nachos?
Yeah, there you go. Have it all. Have it all. Imbibe and fill your stomach to try to get over this one because that's a real disappointing loss that happened across the street at the Footprint Center in front of a mass Arizona crowd here. I didn't think the energy was as big as it was last year when we were here. Maybe that's because it was a night game, but it was still good. It was still a good vibe in the building, and the Arizona Wildcats just could not get it done.
DK, before we go to break real quick, I just wanted to say, all credit to Mick Cronin, Kelvin, and what he teaches his players. They're always, like every single Mick Cronin team I've seen, they're always connected. They may not be the best offensively, but they always fight. They are never out of games. And you have to give credit to that UCLA team because they found a way to win this game. I think Arizona forced some shots, but that's not because UCLA didn't play great defense. They made timely buckets. Yeah. They went to their hot hand. They did the winning. They made winning plays down that stretch, and that's why Arizona lost this game. It's all because of what Cronin and the UCLA Bruins did.
All right, we'll talk more about it. We'll hear from you, 520-848-1290. You can get in via phone call. You can get in via text. You can get in on any of our social media platforms. We're on Twitter at Wildcats1290. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. The show is streaming on all of those channels, and you can also comment at Wildcats Radio 1290 on any of those platforms. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day after 57-54. Arizona lost here in Phoenix to UCLA. Number 24, UCLA. Much more straight ahead, along with Kelvin Efon and JW Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot postgame coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The postgame show is brought to you by
Go. Townsend just goes to the bucket and lays it in. Wow.
Size advantage on Trent Perry at 6'4" in the post. Excellent play design on the baseline out of bounds.
Biggest lead for the Wildcats.
57-54, Arizona falls to the UCLA Bruins to fall to 4-5 on the year. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We are coming to you live right now from Willie's Taco Joint. There's a smattering of Wildcat fans that have come over here after the ball game. We've talked to a few. You'll hear those comments as well. We want to hear from you. You can also text to get in on the show. I've got one text already from our guy Fred Scheib. He's got a lot to say, so we'll get into. It's like 7 texts, so we'll get into Fred Scheib. That's Gene's son. We talked a lot about Gene last year. He lost his mom. She was a big Wildcat fan, but we'll get into what Fred has to say coming up a little bit later. We'll start on the phones, though, and our first up is Cade. You're on Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day after a 57-54 loss by the Wildcats to UCLA.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, I had to go back and look through my Twitter feed at every time, right? Arizona's lost and totally kind of underperformed in the point scoring category. Is Lloyd going to go back and sort of start to trying to revamp this offense to stop having his big men slipping screens for 2 halves of basketball every game? It's the same half-court offensive problems I feel like we've been looking at the entire time he's been here. Anytime that offense stalls out, it's the same problem. That's kind of my first question. And the second is parking Townsend in, like, the mid-post and just clogging the lane doing anything? Because clearly he's not beating guys back to basket, scoring out of the post. So I guess just at what point with, kind of a break coming up in Big 12 on the horizon, do they try and kind of overhaul this system? Because it clearly isn't working.
Kelvin, thoughts?
Well, I'm just one of those guys, man, where, I just think that you have to have different sets, different plays to run to get your guys shots in the areas where you want them to get.
Did you guys hear the highlight I just played? It was an out-of-bounds call.
Yes.
Set play, Kelvin. Got Townsend a layup.
Yes. Need a few more of those on the, on the offensive end. And I just think that, yeah, man, I just would love to see us, looking like we're doing something different offensively instead of just the same old offense. Again, you lost by a few points here. So I'm sure Coach thinks that, hey, if we would have just did this better and did that better, we wouldn't be talking about this. But I still feel like that if we had some offenses, because J-Dub, tell me this. Is it harder to prepare for a team that you know what's doing or a team that has a few different offenses of offensive sets that you're not sure?
Yeah, you want to have a counter, right, to every single little thing. I think we're kind of bearing the lead here in that, like, I watched a ton of Mark Few teams. I watched all the Tommy Lloyd teams here. You know what the best Zag teams are? Teams that got 2 or 3 deadly outside shooters on those teams, because that flow offense, it works great if that threat, Kelvin, of having a guy who's a 50% shooter, if you leave him open out there. And that's just not what we're seeing on this year's team. There's some, spotty shooting. Some guys might be on one night, not making shots the next night. It's so tough to run that kind of offense, especially when they can pack it in and you don't have your best big scorer in the game. You're not getting open looks inside because you're not knocking down shots outside. And that's just probably going to be the case for this team, Kelvin, unless there's a little bit more, let's get our guy who's hot the ball in the right spots.
Katie.
Well, it's a problem when nobody's hot, right?
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this about Townsend. I think you got to find out. I think there's been some games when he has posted up and been able to score, and we saw that in the Bahamas. That there were games down there where he absolutely dominated down there on the post, especially against that game against Oklahoma. So I think that's something that they'd like him to do. But my biggest concern with that is, you're asking a kid that's coming up playing his first year at this level to be your main inside threat, and I just don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if you can ask a kid who's never played at this level to be your main inside post threat.
I was going to say, like, what I'm biggest disappointed is he only got 8 looks. He only got 8 field goal attempts. But the reason he didn't get more looks, guys, is 22 freaking turnovers. The number of turnovers that Arizona had tonight led directly to those guys we're talking about not getting as many looks as they needed. So, yeah, you're completely right, Kate. I don't know about rehauling offenses and all that stuff, but they definitely need to either simplify it when they're in the half court or find a way, like Kelvin's saying, to run some kind of double screen or a set for your best scorers to get better looks. Because right now they're struggling just to find good looks.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I feel like the wings aren't getting any sort of a chance. We're not getting good enough inside, anything for kickouts with Townsend or like Vsar being down there. So, and clearly we're not dribbling past anybody either. So, right, I mean, some sort of a counter set or something. I mean, hopefully that's what they come up with. Anyways, thanks. Just feel like I've been watching the same thing for all of Lloyd now every time they have that problem.
Cade, we appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Bear down, Cade.
520-848-1290.
Thank you. Bear down.
520-848-1290.
That was a sad bear down. Did you hear that, DK?
Yeah, bear down.
That was a sad bear down. Oh, man.
Yeah,
I hate to hear
I
that.
don't like losing to the Bruins when you had them.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's chat with Anthony. Anthony, you're on Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, the post-game show after a 57-54 loss to UCLA.
Hey, happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays to you.
Just rough. It's a rough start to the season. We're getting to that point. I know it's still early. It's December. But looking at what the Big 12 has to offer, we're getting to that point where we're going to have to overperform in the Big 12 now the rest of the way to possibly even get in the tournament. I was hoping we'd go undefeated in December, get ourselves going a little bit again. But with this loss, I mean, the next couple games should be gimmies. But then the first road trip in the Big 12, I think, is Cincinnati and West Virginia.
Yep.
So that's not going to be fun. One thing I'm thinking about looking at this team, and I guess it was kind of a precursor. It goes back to the Duke game. It was like early in the first half. It was like one of the dead balls or one of the timeouts. One of the announcers talks about having breakfast with a Duke coach in the morning. And he asked them, if you guys could find it or you guys ever look back at the game, it's a pretty interesting point. He asked the Duke coach, what's the game plan if you want to release it? And the Duke coach was straightforward with telling him, like, according to what he said the conversation was, is like Arizona at that point in time was averaging 89 points a game. He broke it down saying Arizona, 66 of their points are coming off of free throws and fast breaks. His quote, according to the announcer, was, if we get them in a half-court game, we'll be completely fine. And it's looking that way. Arizona in the half-court game is atrocious. Today, when they went on that 10-0 run, it was 8 points on a fast break and 2 points on that last play before UCLA called timeout, a dunk by Townsend.
Yeah, it was all off of steals, right?
Yeah, it was all off of steals, and that's where we made a run. Second half, we pushed the pace. Bradley got a little hot. Bradley, I love Bradley. He's doing great, but my only concern about Bradley, and I think this is affecting Caleb, is Bradley's most effective when he has the ball. Sometimes he over dribbles, and Caleb, I just don't think Caleb and Bradley's game mesh too well. I feel like Caleb's trying to find that, and believe me, I love Bradley, don't get me wrong, but I've played ball my whole life. There's just some people you can play with greatly, and some people you can't. And maybe one of the benefits of Boswell having such a bad year last year and being passive was that Caleb got to be able to get into his game. I was looking back at stats last year. There's times where Bradley got a lot of playing time, and those were some of Love's worst games. Not saying that is Bradley's fault, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if their styles mesh. Even after 3 games this year, I remember some of the questions was like, oh, what's up with Love? And it's Bradley being in the game. But I mean, they got to find a way to work together. Another thing, complaints about Lloyd in the last 3 or 4 years was always end the game situations, running that set play. And so when teams get us in a slowdown, when we're looking at one shot, teams could defend us great, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I think Kelvin already said it all. I mean, that mix, like Coach Olson had a mix of flow, motion offense, and then when needed, double back screen for an alley-oop, out of bounds nonsense, obviously every set play out of bounds, and many variations of that off of each defense, whatever the defense was throwing at you. And so it's not to say the flow is great. And when you've got guys who work together and are connected, it's great. But Anthony, I mean, when you're struggling down that stretch 9 minutes they finished the game 9 minutes without a single field goal, you got to find a way to get easy offense.
At 9 minutes left, we had 49 points. We scored 5 points the rest of the way. I was on the phone with one of my buddies that was at the game, And he asked me, what did I think? With like a minute 30 left. And I was like, I hate to say this, man. The only way we're going to score, because it's good. Now that it's a 1-point game, we're down 1, and it's going to be a half-court possession both ways. Only way we're going to be able to score is free throws, because when you sit down, and the UCLA being a good defensive team doesn't help. And just right now, our offense just doesn't look well. I do like Townsend in the post, but right now, with us not hitting threes, teams could just, when we get Townsend in the post and he has his back to the basket, he's been pretty well, like you said it perfect, the Bahamas, but now they could crash on him. And not just him not being able to, it's not that he has tunnel vision. Once he gets the ball, he's not giving it up. When they crash and the guards crash, it also clogs up that lane. Sometimes you don't get a clear view to be able to try to get it out to a guard. But teams are able to crash right now because we're doing nothing from the three-point line.
Yeah, and he got to get it out of there quicker, too. He got 4 turnovers today, and a lot of it was because he was trying to dribble as soon as he got the ball, not understanding that they're bringing the double. When you know the team is struggling, you know the double's coming. He's a veteran player. You got to get that ball back out of there quick, and maybe we re-enter it. Maybe we throw it back in there for him. But you can't just get that double team and think you're going to muscle up against a Cronin-type team. I mean, too many of our guys got the ball, especially our bigs, got the ball taken away from them right up under the basket from Cronin guys going in with it. You could tell that it was strategic. They were going in with 2 hands, grabbing at it and grabbing the ball, and they did a great job tying us up and snatching some balls out right around the basket, which we should have scored. And I'll say one more thing. We're talking a lot of offensive. This game should have been won on the defensive end of the court. You got to be down there a little bit. So
Bilodeau dominated.
Oh man, he went right at him, man. That was a tough matchup for him, And then when I noticed what I didn't like was you go back and try to hit threes to come back at him.
Yeah,
right, J-Dub. When you haven't hit, maybe what he made, maybe 1 3 in the game a couple times. Right now in a tight game like this, that's not what you go for, because again, that's another. If I'm on that other team, I'm thinking, oh, we got him. We got these guys. We got random guys shooting threes in a tight game. We got them.
Yeah. And the sad part, though, is some of those random threes, I don't want Vesa shooting those, but they say that he's capable of making them. I've seen him in a couple of games, hit some here and there, but never in tight situations. The only thing about that is going back to our half-court offense is that sometimes some of the threes that he took were the only open shots we got on half-court offense. The movement.
But that's what they gave him. Cronin not giving up shots. That's what he wanted you to do. That's why the guy shouldn't have shot him. He should have took 1 dribble in. How about that? Take 1 hard dribble in and make it a 15-footer, a 12-footer.
Great point, man. And yeah, just a little thing I'm a little worried about too is, and I like Lloyd. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's $1 million coach, and I'm sitting at home watching the game for a reason. So I'm not saying I'm ever smarter than him, but the thing is, I'm starting to worry about a little bit of, we had an established team. Not saying that Miller was better or anything like that, but he's missed a lot on recruiting right now. Visar's hurt. I mean, not Visar's. Krivas is hurt, but I saw Krivas a potential, but I never saw what ESPN 85th best player in college basketball. He was a big guy, and defensively when he stood, he clogged the paint. Defensively, just having to shoot over that, but besides that, last year, he wasn't a great rebounder. I mean, if he jumps, he could barely slide a piece of paper under his feet. He's a big man, and I'm not trying to knock the kid, don't get me wrong, but we just had too many misses there. I'm just a little frustrated just with what we had. You look at it, Love fell into our lap. I mean, we went after him, but we also we went after him, but we were going after the Gonzaga kid. So then Love turns around and goes to Michigan. And then after everything goes wrong at Michigan, then he comes back to us. So, I mean, we got a steal there, but I haven't really seen a great recruit by Lloyd yet.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Anthony. Jostin Sannon, that kid, he committed to Arizona, and then as soon as Caleb decided at the 11th hour he was coming back, he committed to the school up north. 16 points a game on 52% shooting right now. He's 17, right, Kelvin? I mean, he skipped a grade. He jumped a grade back, so he's supposed to be a senior in high school right now. That was a guy that Lloyd had recruited and had him coming in.
He did go back to his regular grade.
Caleb came back. Now that School of North is 8-2, and he is shooting 52%. That's very efficient.
But I think we said something earlier. I wanted to add to this. I think one of Caleb's struggles is that he doesn't have the ball in his hands as much now. He doesn't. He's trying to play that catch and shoot guy. I thought he was playing so unselfish today when I saw him play. I didn't even realize that he had taken 7 threes, because when you think about threes, they're just shots, right? Because he's not really being aggressive. You're not seeing him attacking.
I think a lot of those are late clock because he's that dude, right?
Right. And so, but my point is that the ball isn't in his hands.
No.
It's in Bradley's hands. Bradley has the ball most of the time, and I don't see Bradley setting him up. I don't see Bradley making it easier. I don't see Bradley dribbling to him for a handoff and hitting him on the back door. They should have 2 of those a game. Just because of the way the defense is overplaying. Did you see the way the guy was playing him?
Yeah.
They were overplaying him. So we set everybody high and we go back door. That's like automatic. You should at least try it twice, and you probably at least get a couple fouls at worst.
And let me piggyback on that, Kelvin. There was a couple plays that I saw Love come for the ball, and Bradley just went opposite direction.
I saw it too.
And and so that's the thing. I just don't think their games mesh. I just don't. I think, and like I love Bradley. I love what he's bringing. He brought a lot more than Boswell brought. But I think Love's game was a benefit of a little bit of Boswell. And it's never good to have like what Boswell was doing last year. I mean, a good year this year, but it was just Boswell being passive. Not having the ball in his hands a lot. Love did great in that. With this right here, it's just, I just don't think they mesh.
DK, and you know I have been saying it, but I have been saying that I thought Bradley wasn't doing a good job of setting guys up. Now I know it's not meant for the point guard in this team to be the only setup guy, the flow offense, set each other up, set the guys up. But when you look at this team, there are not a lot of great passers in this, so you would think the point guard would go out of his way to make sure to set up the guys in their spots where they get it at. And I had told you guys, y'all know this, J-Dub. You've heard me say it all season. I said he's kind of going for his. He gets deep in the paint, right at the bucket. I mean, a lot of good shots right at the rim. You can't get mad at those. But as a point guard, a lot of the times, you have to almost – you have to get those other guys going. And when you see a guy like Caleb struggling, the coach has to call the play, and that point guard together have to get that guy going. You have to. There's no way Caleb only have 3 shots in the paint. There's something you have to do, something I have to call to force him. Because as a coach, I'll call the back door, J-Dub. I'll call the 1-4 high.
Still haven't seen it, Kelvin. Remember we talked about that last week about how we haven't seen one of those backdoor cuts by Caleb Hard.
With
Hard cut.
And my point is,
no, by Caleb, I meant. By Caleb.
But let me tell you one thing. Let me just say this. You call a play where he has to go back door, right, to see if he'll do it.
Yeah.
Right, to see if he'll do it. Now, if he won't do it, okay, I got to get him out the game. He's just standing around. He's looking for threes. But if I don't even call a play that forces him, that put him in a position like the UCLA where you got to cut off, the first thing you have to do is cut off that high screen at the elbow to see if the back door is there. You're right. And then you come off the double looking for the curl or the catch and shoot. But you have to get put in a situation where, or even run a play where he catches the ball on the wing and there's a drive to your right hand to get to the rim. Put your head down and get to the rim. I mean, am I wrong about this?
No, you're completely right. You're never wrong, Kelvin.
I mean,
ever.
I ain't gonna go there, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's sometimes you got to just put your head down and almost be like, hey, it's gonna be a charge. It's gonna be a charge. But put your head down and put your helmet on the rim.
Yeah, it's like I said, Kelvin's exactly right, man. It's what do you call it?
Anthony.
That's what I love about you guys' show. His impact and his knowledge is just a big contribute to everything you guys have.
Well, we absolutely appreciate it. He is the best, that is for sure. Anthony, we appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
Have a good holidays, everybody.
You too. All right, 520-848-1290 is the number. Arizona falls to UCLA at 57-54. A lot more straight ahead. We'll review our keys to the game, our best bets. We got to hand out the Window Depot Glass Cleaner of the game. We'll hear from Tommy Lloyd as well as the players after this one as well. Bruins win it here in Phoenix, we're at Willie's Taco Joint. Stop on by. Have something to make yourself feel better. Along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil change.
Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control.
Arizona Gameday postgame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Efon, and J.W. Madden.
7 to shoot. Clark drives the baseline underneath. Won't shoot over Basar. Backs it out now. Clark dribbles again. Whistle. 3-second call on UCLA. Boy, the Arizona defense here in the second half has been incredible.
It has, and it was 57-54. Bruins knock off the Wildcats. Boy, did they just turn it up. Down 13 points, like J-Dub said a little bit earlier. They just do not stop fighting. does a Mick Cronin team, man, and they were able to scratch their way back when it looked like the Wildcats were about to put their foot on this game and really dominate it with about midway through the second half, but it did not happen, and the Bruins are leaving Phoenix with the first win since 1977 against an Arizona team outside of the two being in the same conference. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Call or text, message on any of our social media platforms. Let's chat with Howie. Howie, you're on Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day postgame show.
Hey, happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays, Howie.
Happy holidays.
Hey, you know, there's a shining star to this. If you look at the stats, David and JW, you do that kind of thing. UCLA is not a great shooting team, but they're a real good foul shooting team, and they shot like crap from the free throw line. So we could have lost that game by more. That's my first thing. The second thing I want to say is that last 8 or 9 minutes reminded me of me when I was younger and a bunch of buddies getting together at a playground and having a full-court pickup game. It was ridiculous. I agree with Kelvin 100%. A 7-1 guy taking, 3 shots from 30 feet out when you're trying to protect a lead, I mean, that was crazy. And then running and trying to set a screen and gets called for a foul, that's just Vasar. And then there's that one dribble in the ball out of bounds. I mean, it was, to me, the last 8, 9 minutes was a comedy of errors.
Well,
and, you know,
Howie,
Go ahead.
we saw that there was at times a lack of awareness of where guys were on the court. I mean, I think we saw 2 guys get called for being out of bounds. Getting the ball in this game.
Vasar had his heels on the out of bounds line a couple times.
And then obviously the last one where Trey kind of just dribbled it out of bounds. I mean, but again, that's, you know, these are 2 guys that have never played in this environment. They've never played in this environment before, so I don't know what you expect.
Yeah, and that double came quick on Trey right there. He just had to get that back out and maybe repost. That's all it was, man. And that's, like you said, not playing together. When things get tight, that lack of trust starts showing up. You know, when you have a guy like Cronin, he is so in control of every little – it's micromanaging, and people don't like that in this new day and age of just let guys play. But in tight games, those guys are – a little bit more together a lot of the times because they don't want to disappoint that coach because he's so you saw how they were getting the ball to the right guy to take all the shots at that time. They you know, to the hot hand.
Yeah, bro, he will never get Dylan Harper. Ever.
Yeah.
Because of that. Like, he's not going to give freedom to his guards, but it doesn't matter because whatever 12 he's got on his bench, he's going to find a way to win with them. That's just who Cronin is.
You know, I was going to say something, too. It's like, you know, and I'm going to use UCLA as an example, okay? Last year, we don't have a Hawkes or a Tiger Campbell. You know, everybody thought, I think, that when Love came back and the other guy, Townsend, I forgot, yeah, that's his name, came back, it was going to solidify, you know, and make the team stronger. And I don't see that happening. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm getting senile in my old age.
You're not missing anything.
Well, remember I said, you know what I said? We still got to remember how many guys on this team were starting from last year, and we still tweaking it, right? Because now Carter Bryant's in the starting lineup. So what was it, Caleb Love? Caleb Love is the only starter back on this team.
Look, the problem is not that they can't do it. The problem is they can't do it consistently, okay? Yeah. So in the second half, they scored 24 points in the first 9 minutes and 5 points in the last 11 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
So clearly, when it works, it works. Yeah. I mean, it's not that this team can't put it together. The problem, guys, is the game is 40 minutes long. And DK started all this by saying this was 4 different games,
right?
And they lost 2 of those decisively. So you got to have a full 40 minutes. You know, we haven't seen that yet.
You know what I thought, guys? I thought that team that I saw when he went small, I thought that was the team that did all the running and jumping and got the steals and got us back into the game. Is that what you saw?
Yep, I saw that. I like that team, the smaller team.
Yeah, it just seemed like they had a little bit more speed to match the energy that UCLA was playing with. It seemed like that team, that those guys were a little bit more connected. As far as it seemed like when we had the bigs in there, it seemed like they were a little. Everybody was over helping and trying to figure out how to slow UCLA down.
I was thinking that to myself, Calvin. That they looked too mechanical when they had the bigs in there. They, it didn't flow like when they had the smaller guys.
And that's tough when, Delhi only plays 14 minutes, right? So you're talking about, when your lead guard, your preseason All-American Caleb Love's not got it going, and then the guy off the bench you expect to get your buckets, Kelvin, as well, he only gets 14 minutes because he's having maybe an off night himself. The offense, the individual, we don't like that ISO. We're not looking for that ISO, but the idea, Kelvin, being if the flow is not getting you open buckets or dunks at the rim, or your fast break's not working, you got to have somebody who can come off a high pick and roll, make a pocket pass for a dunk to one of the bigs. We saw that a few times from JB, but not consistently enough.
Right.
And again, guys, 24 points in the first 9 minutes of the second half, 5 points in the last 11 minutes of that second half. They just did not consistently find a way to score against that Bruins defense.
And I'll ask one more thing. How many shots did Caleb get in that time? Because I don't remember too many shots in that last 8 minutes.
He took one. That three-pointer, that one three-pointer with 3
And
minutes.
what? 1 in 8 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
we got Vasar, Bradley, Vasar, Caleb, and then Jaden, and then that's it. Those are their field goal attempts. So 0 for 5,
Lewis at the end.
Yeah, 0 for 5, and Caleb got 1. Yeah, a KJ desperation 3 at the end,
Yeah, I wasn't. When he came back, Mr. Love. I don't know the guy from Adam. I just watch him and read about him. I thought he was really going to be some hot stuff. And it seems like I don't know what's going on, but he's like not part of the process a lot.
I got a
especially on
question
offense.
for the captain. If you see tightness, like we saw there down that stretch, where the guys are playing that, prevent yourselves of winning a game type of thing, you get in that huddle, and you look around at your guys, Kelvin, and there's guys who are tight. There were clearly guys who are tight down the stretch there. What's that message to that team to keep it loose? It's just basketball, have fun. What are you saying to those guys?
That's why you run plays, because the play is what I'm saying. Hey, execute. Let's run this play. Let's get this shot. If that's there, let's go to our second. Let's go to our third option. And I'm sure that's what they're saying in their original set. But to me, you got to go to a couple other sets, because a lot of times players, man, you love that coach that could get you an easy shot.
Yeah.
When he didn't call the play, he didn't draw up a play on the sideline, and he can get us something, a good shot. That's why I thought at the end right there, I was like, wait a minute, like, did we call timeout? Did we do anything there? Because I would have figured out something. Or you remember the play that Coach K drew up to get Leitner the shot? Like, that's what you be looking for in those times like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you looking like, I was thinking like, okay, we're gonna dribble down, we're gonna hit Caleb. Caleb gonna throw up a shot. That's gonna be his second 3. Boom, they tie the game up. Like that's what I thought. You still believe right there, but when I seen him throw it to KJ Lewis, I knew right there. I was like, wait a minute, KJ Lewis is not a shooter. I mean, so I would have rather Bradley threw the shot up right there. Nothing against KJ there. So, but yeah, that was just a little disappointing at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, time to move on, right?
Time to move on and get a couple of more wins against mid-majors and see what happens when you get to Big 12.
And DK,
you guys have a good holiday.
You too.
You too.
Thank you,
DK, I wanted to say this too, and that's why I remember I said about the 62 points from the bench.
Right.
That's why a lot of time when you see coaches, I remember Coach Olsen. I'm gonna go to the story. A lot of time he didn't like to put the bench in those games, and you know why? And I understood this once I started coaching. When I was playing, I'm like, Coach, get me in. We up 10. Get me in. I don't care that we, it's 10 minutes to go. Get me in, right? Because you're a player, and I'm sure that's what Coach wants out of his players. But a lot of time, DK, and even in those games versus some of the lower level teams, you play your guys so they can get used to what their role is. You let them play, man. Against those teams like that, Damon would drop 40, right? Because he's getting going. He's getting that rhythm. He's forcing that other team to put their game plan on coming after him because he's that guy. And it opens up the other guys, right? And so I just feel like that, you know, you want to get all those other guys going on the bench and get them their minutes and make everybody happy. But at the end of the day, it's about winning. And a lot of times he's went to 7, 8 guys. So, but I just thought Caleb wasn't playing great yet. It was a few guys not playing great yet. And I feel like you use those games to get those guys going. And once they get going and they got the stats that I think that they need, then I rotate those other guys in there, you know, to get their minutes and to get their feel goods in. But I got to get a guy like Caleb because forget what people are talking about. I'm not going to and I'm not going to say nobody messing nobody up, but I laugh because I hear about Brennan messing up all those guys on the football team, right? And my point about that is this. I'm like that, okay, well, you know Caleb Love is Caleb Love.
Right.
Come on now. You know Caleb Love is Caleb Love. As a coach, as a team, we got to do something to help him beat Caleb Love because we know he's him.
520-848-1290. Great points, as always, by the captain, Kelvin Efon. It's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. I'm going to give you your Window Depot glass cleaner of the game, and that is going to be one Jaden Bradley. Jaden did everything I thought in this game except for finish it. I mean, he was 4 for 4 when I sent out a tweet that it was probably one of the better all-around games I'd seen in a while.
Yeah, it was.
And then he missed his last 3 shots.
And he didn't get Caleb going.
And he didn't get
that's just me. I'm just go car. And he didn't get Caleb going. A part of your job, you go listen to any good point guard. I forget, Terrell Brandon, I think, said one time that Jason Kidd was telling, it was Chauncey Billups telling the story of that, how he went into half and he was having a great half and he had like 15 points, but the star player only had like 8. And he was like, man, I'm having a bad game. And Chauncey was like, no, you're not. You got 15 points, man. You killed. He said, no, it's not. The star player ain't getting his. And if he ain't getting his, we ain't going to win. There you go.
There you go. Well, we'll have to go back and watch the tape. But, I mean, again, obviously Bradley did have 6 assists in this game, but we'll have to go back and kind of see who those assists were to, how they flowed in the offense, and like you said, not enough of those getting those assists going to try to get Caleb Love shots because he finished with 7 points in the contest. But Jaden Bradley with 7 rebounds, tied for the team lead. He is your Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Window Depot, lowest prices, biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com. Eric and Robert, hang in there. We got to get a break in here. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Coming to you live from Willie's Taco Joint. It was happening right after the game. It's starting to clear out here as the Wildcat fans finish drowning their sorrows after a 57-54
well,
loss.
DK, beer and tequila before a drive back to Tucson's not the best idea. So.
Maybe they should get a place like I did and stay the night. Well, you can drown your sorrows and you don't have to worry about driving home. That's always a good way to go. With Kelvin Efon and JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot postgame coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The postgame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Desert Diamond Casinos, Dorado Rock, First Chiropractic, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC, Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Post and Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury.
Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. This is your home for Arizona basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Top of the circle, handed off to Johnson. His pass tipped, and Delor so got the steal, and he gets it off to Bradley. Turnover, Bruins, that's their 13th. Cats with the ball, leading by 9. Bradley, throw it inside to Vasar, knocked away and stolen by Perry. He's double teamed, then his pass, stolen back, but falling out of bounds. Or they got a timeout. Oh my goodness, Jaden Bradley stole the pass at midcourt. He was falling out of bounds, alertly called a timeout to save the position. That's a veteran player.
So Jaden Bradley's just, we didn't go over his entire line today. 12 points on 4 of 7. I mentioned he made his first 4, missed his last 3. 4-4 from the line. 12 points, 7 rebounds, our Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. 6 assists, 5 steals, and he turned it over just 2 times in the contest. A pretty good ball game for Jaden Bradley. And he got that impressive timeout there that you just heard, falling out of bounds. I mean, it was, again, he was playing about as good as you can play, about as good as we have seen him play. The only thing he didn't do was close. He could not close this out for the Arizona Wildcats, and they lose to the UCLA Bruins 57-54, and now 4-5 on the season. We'll take more of your calls, 520-848-1290. We'll have our best bets coming up here. I think I'm lengthening my lead on the other gentlemen that are part of this program. Let's hear from Eric. You're on Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day after a 57-54 Arizona loss to UCLA.
Well, my wife has taken the shoelaces out of my shoes, keeping them away from me. This was the most, I think the last 10 minutes of that game was the worst 10 minutes of Arizona basketball since Tommy Lloyd's been here. And it was like, we gift wrapped it. Somebody mentioned in the first 9 minutes, we scored 24 points. 21 of them were either at the rim or at the free throw line. They had 9 fouls. We were in the double bonus. We were going to be in the double bonus, so they committed another foul with 11 minutes left. They could not guard us off the drive. Even though they were packing it in, Bradley was still going right by him and either laying it up or getting dunks for guys. And my 12-year-old son, with 7 minutes and 18 seconds, we were still up 9. He looks at me and says, "We're going to lose. We're in our prevent offense." And it was we drove one more time in the last 9 minutes, and Bradley got to the rim, and I don't know how he missed it because it looked like halfway down, it popped out. So Kelvin's right. We have nothing at the end of games if it's a close game. It's stand outside, dribble, we run or weave for about 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden there's 8 seconds left, and we jack up a jump shot. And it's insane. And today, one of my biggest things was the rotation of the players. Carter Bryant played 3 minutes in the second half. 3 minutes. And Awaka didn't play any more than that. And we had 2 guys on our team that were killing us the entire second half. And they played a lot of minutes because those guys didn't. I just don't know why Carter Bryant was on the court the first 3 minutes of the second half and never saw the court again. And he was doing well on defense. I know he had a couple turnovers in the first half. And I was shocked to hear Ryan Hansen, one of the 3 players he called out and said he needs to make shots, was Del Orso. You can't make shots if you're on the bench.
If you're on the bench.
Usually he kills us on defense. He played good defensively. He had a block shot. He deflected 2 passes, and he only took 1 shot. He made it. He didn't hit rim on it, and he hardly played the second half too. It was just like he went with the 6 guys, and 2 of them killed us the whole half, and Visar killed us the last 10 minutes. It felt like, but it was frustrating.
You missed one guy. Tobe only got 12 minutes. That's obviously not a perimeter player as well. But you're talking about rotations and minutes. Yeah, it was pretty scattered today.
Because Visar, I get it. Townsend could not guard their big when Visar went out, but Awaka gave him a shot. I know he had 3 fouls early, but then it's kind of like they forgot about him. It's just like, man, at least give it a shot because nothing was working. I don't know how many points that guy had in the second half, but nobody could handle him, and they didn't even give Awaka. It didn't seem like a chance to guard him, but. Yeah, I was frustrated with the rotation of the players, and then it's not even an instinct. It's like we don't have the killer game plan because we were up 13 and they couldn't stop us because we only had I think 2 fast break points in that first 9 minutes. It was all in the half court, still getting to the rim because they definitely couldn't guard Bradley. And when they would come over, he was fine. That's what he had 4 assists in the first 8 minutes of the second half, or 3 of his assists were anyways. And like I said, it wasn't like they weren't blowing the whistle, and then they couldn't foul, so they won in the second half because we weren't giving them the opportunity because we were just jacking up threes and fall away jumpers. It was a horrible 10 minutes of basketball.
Yeah, Eric. I mean the dumbest part, and I'm going to use the word dumbest here, which I don't normally do, but that whole point you made at the beginning, we've talked quite a bit about the last 11 minutes, 10 minutes of that game, but the fact that they were in the double bonus and they did not take only one layup, only that Jaden Bradley, 0 for 4 from 3, 0 for 2 on jump shots, 5 turnovers in that stretch, nothing going to the basket. Kelvin, if you get a team on their heels in the double bonus, and maybe you're struggling a little bit in the half-court offense, everything's got to be going to the rim, right?
Everything is downhill to the rim. You force the hand of the referee, or at worst, you're the bigger team. I mean, you wasn't playing like the bigger, tougher team a lot of the times, but you're the bigger, tougher team. You go get that ball, and you go back and finish it. But, you know, when you're getting tied up at the basket, when they're knocking balls out of your hand, a lot of times you don't want to go down there because you don't want to get it knocked out again, right?
Yeah, but that's when you just flail your arms around, right? And just pretend like you got mugged. That's what people do these days, right?
Well, no, you go shoot a three. You go shoot a three. You go get away from there.
Well, I get that, but I don't think in the first 9 minutes of that second half, our offense wasn't struggling. We scored 24 points in 9 minutes. That's on pace for over 100 points a game.
Fast break offense.
Well, not quite fast break. They only had 9 fast break points the entire game, but they did have points off turnovers.
They had 7 in the first half.
Yeah.
Of turnovers.
So they had 2 in that. 2 of those 24 points were in the fast break. I mean, we were breaking. I think we had 5 free throws, a 3-pointer, and the rest were layups.
Exactly.
And it's like literally they stopped doing, like my 12-year-old son goes, we're in our prevent offense, and it's exactly what we did for like 6 possessions in a row. We went past midcourt, and Jalen would dribble it for about 4 or 5 seconds. Then we do a 3-man weave, and now all of a sudden there's 8 seconds on the shot clock, and guess what? We're shooting a jump shot. It's just like it was like a night. It's like Groundhog Day. It was every close game. We can't win close games because we do the same thing every time. And you know what? Tommy's first 2 years here, I thought he had master inbound play. After timeouts, it seemed like we would always get great looks and great shots. This year, every time we inbound the ball under the basket, every team knows what we're going to do, and we end up having to outlet it to our center on a lob pass over the top, which today wasn't an issue because UCLA is small and slow. But, like, Cooper Flagg killed us on that because he'd be on Mo, and he'd out-jump Mo and either tip it or steal it, or Mo would fumble it because it was a tough catch. But when we inbound it under our basket, it ends up being a lob to whoever's playing the center. And if they've got an athletic center, it gets stolen 50% of the time. And Tommy used to be great.
Those first 2 years,
he used to be great at drawing inbound passes, and I always wondered why can't he drop at the end of the game play, because he can drop inbound plays that get us great shots, and we could never get end of game shots or end of shot clock shots out of the timeout, and now we can't even get inbound plays on timeouts in the middle of the game.
Those first 2 years, Eric, they had Dalen Terry, who's 6'7", with long arms and has good vision, is a very good passer, passing into Christian Coloco, Zulis Tabelis, and Benedict Mathurin, who are the guys who are finishing in those out-of-bounds plays. So those names, those guys are not walking through this door right now, and the guys who are in this rotation need to figure out how to pick up one of those roles or find a way to be more consistent down the stretch, especially because the opportunities were there, but like you said, they just did not make the right reads within that flow. They got to get better shots. They got to get better looks.
Great. All right. Well, thanks, guys. That was a good point. Thanks.
Appreciate you, Eric. Great stuff right there. Great insight to what's going on with this team. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to call or text the show. Let's hear from Robert. You are on Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day postgame show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. Calvin, how long is it going to take Caleb Love to get going this year? It's 9 games. He's shooting bricks all over the place. He can't dribble the ball. 3 or 4 times a day he lost the ball or almost lost the ball or would slip, fall down. The guy is doing nothing. I think Tommy Lloyd needs to sit him down some. Del Orso can shoot. Del Orso should have been in on that last play to give them another 3-point option. The kid can shoot. I didn't like him the first couple games, but, I mean, why is he sticking with Caleb Love? What's he going to wait the whole season for him to get going? And if he doesn't get going, we're going to have bricks from Caleb Love all year, inside and from the 3-point line. And then I'll be quiet after this, but Trey Townsend should not be in the game at crunch time. The guy continually lost the ball from beginning to the end of the game on his own. There were 3 or 4 or 5 times he'd turn around and the ball would slip out of his hand. or they'd strip it out of his hands. I mean, the guy does. I didn't see him get many rebounds. I don't know if he had any rebounds today. What is he doing in there?
Yeah, he only had 2.
Yeah, I've been saying about the rebounds
What's he
for
do?
Townsend. I've been saying that for a
Well,
while.
you've got, and here's the thing: you've got it. I think we had a caller earlier that said that, we need to stop posting him up. You got to, because it's clear at this point after 9 games, we thought maybe this was a guy that might be able to give us some 3-point offense. He's not going to do that. That's not going to happen.
Because he was 4 for 6 inside of the 3.
Exactly.
He
I mean,
only
that's where
the 2,
he's going to be his best. And that's where they
yeah,
were.
but he can't handle the ball. We have nobody inside that can
in crunch time.
create a shot with the ball.
In crunch time, you're absolutely right. It's what we've seen it. I think we saw it at the end of the West Virginia game. When things get tough down the stretch, and guys start getting physical down the stretch, that's when Arizona has problems. But I think earlier in games, Townsend and Awaka are fine, but down the stretch, they've absolutely got to be better and more physical.
I think where he had problems, you said it, West Virginia, right? These are the type of teams, UCLA, they're going to come with tough, physical doubles, quick, and you have to be willing to get that ball back out of there or turn strong and take somebody up through the rim with you. That's just the type of team when you're playing those Big 10, Big 12 type of teams. That's what you have to do when you're around that rim. But I want to answer this thing about Caleb Love. I think as a coach, I've been in this situation before as far as that's the best offensive player you have. Your players know it. You know it. Everybody knows. The guy has over 2,000 points. He's been everything. You know his accolades. It's been tough for him, and a lot of time when it's tough for a guy like that, I as a whatever I am, whatever little knowledge I have, I want to see what we do to make things easier. Let me ask you a question: what are we doing to make it easier for him?
You know what? What I notice is Bradley and KJ Lewis, they don't even look to give Love the ball towards the end of the games because he's bricked so many shots. I think they'd rather just do something else because I don't know if you've noticed that, but that's been obvious in several games. Love is waiting for the ball, and they look away from him. Why doesn't Del Orso play more?
I have saw them look off a couple times. I felt like that they should have gotten the ball. I felt like they should have gotten the ball for the last shot in this game because regardless of your of how you feel about it, he was the best shooter in the game right there. So you get him the ball and let him take that shot. That's just what we do when the guy beats us at practice every day in the shooting drills. He's doing something to where the coaches still feel comfortable with him in this role, right? It's just not, Lloyd them isn't no ignorant guys. They're practicing every day, and these guys know that he can do this job, but for whatever reason, it's not happening. So to me, what you do as a coach is you figure out a way to make it easier and get him going. Some type of dunk. He hasn't had one dunk. Have you seen a dunk this year from him?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So you don't think he can dunk anymore? Like, he can still dunk. I'm for sure of it, right? So
I'm not worried about his dunking. I'm worried if he can shoot anymore, Kelvin, because I'll tell you this much.
I just need some easy buckets, though, J-Dub.
Caleb
get some easy
sets up his drives by his outside shot. So he's always been that guy who the threat of that outside shot sets up his ability to get by his man.
But when that's not going.
When it's not going. And
you
this year
already
he's
took the shots, so they know you'll take them because the threat of the shot is taking the shot.
Exactly.
So you've taken the shots now. Now let's do something. Come on, J-Dub. You know there's plays where you have to get downhill.
He needs to get to the basket. We talked about that endlessly. All I'm saying is that.
Yeah, but guys, he's missing the easy baskets at the late. He's missing the shots at the rim too. He's not making anything this year. He's breaking the shots at the rim.
You did miss the floater.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is that when you're shooting, when a guy like that's taking 8 threes a game, Kelvin, that's a lot. That's a high volume of threes.
Yep.
And those shots are not going down. The defense is not sprinting out at you anymore because you're the Caleb Love who's knocking down all these shots from outside. that threat is not quite at its level that it has been for the last couple of years for him. So he's got to figure out a way, Kelvin.
But they were hugging him, J-Dub. The guy was right on his hip a lot of time when he was curling off, because we give him one screen, we're just not giving him 2 or 3. But they were hugging him. It was times that I saw, man, I'm looking right at it, that you could dribble to him. When you dribble to a guy like Caleb Love, they're not going to let you just give him the ball. They're going to jump up and try to deny it. And I just didn't see opportunities where we dribbled at his gap or where we ran stuff that were forced to where we could see. Like, I just want to see something where he's forced to go to the rim. I did see the one floater, okay? He did miss that, but I wanted to see a couple more. You got in the paint. That's a good shot. Our guys should have offensive rebound that because you went up over the 7-footer. Where's our 7-footer at the rebound net to put it back? So I just feel like I want to see him downhill. He's one of our better scorers.
You know what? I want to see Kelvin, and we'll have to break this down like on the afternoon show and have more time to it. But we're talking about Jaden Bradley and maybe Caleb Love not being a great combo. What I'm seeing is there's a slowness to the bigs coming up to set that second screen. So you're talking about a high pick and roll where a guy comes off and he sees a little bit of a head, so he kicks it out to the other guard. That's when you need to go ahead right into some more action right there. You need to get them off balance action because you're talking about 2 guys who got mid-range, 2 guys who can get to the rim, and 2 guys who cannot. By which that 2 guards playing that 2-man game with the bigs coming up and setting a screen to get you off your man, that needs to happen much quicker. And then JB and Caleb can both see more action inside the paint because that's when the defense is scrambling. Right now, it's just a little bit slow getting into that action. It's just not quick enough. They need to be quicker, making sure that you make the defense pay by giving Caleb all this extra defensive attention.
Anything else for us today?
I don't think so,
Robert?
because he's no longer with us.
All right. 520-848-1290 is the number. Let's give you our best bets today.
Give me 1 second, DK.
We still got best bets coming up. We've also got our keys to the game as well. We'll get you a scoreboard before we get out of here. And I don't know. We'll see if there's any sound that gets distributed from down inside the Footprint Center from the coach and the players.
Tucson, what happened with today's best bets? Did the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at the best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Arizona was a 3.5-point favorite in this ball game, and Kelvin and J-Dub took U of A and laid the points. That's a losing ticket there. I took UCLA and the 3.5 points. That's a winning ticket there. Everybody took the under on this game at 147. It was 57-54, so it came in at 111, way under the number there. So everybody gets a winning ticket on the over-under in this ball game. So I lengthened my lead by 1. 13-5. J-Dub 8-10, Kelvin 9-9 after now 9.
You supposed to lost that, DK. We supposed to won that game, DK.
Well, that's all of them, Kelvin. If you really think about it,
absolutely, right?
I'm just saying, if you look at that game, we play a little tougher with a little more just grit. That's our game. Even with the 8, not scoring at the end, man, it was just opportunities there that we got to connect a little bit more. The team got to connect a little bit more to take advantage of because it was just different. It was just too many opportunities to win this game besides scoring.
You know what I'm seeing by DK reading out those statistics for the betting lines is 0-5 versus Power 5 conferences.
Right.
I mean, what we're really talking about is Arizona has not performed in any of the big games they've had this year, so all of those lines have not gone the way that we expected them to because they haven't stepped up into those roles because they're not familiar with each other, because they're not closing right, they're not playing good defense in the corner threes or whatever that might be. DK out to a big lead because DK is basically bet against the U of A Cats a couple of times because he's seeing that inconsistency better than we are. I'm not over here betting with my heart, but I'm hoping that they can put it together. I'm not giving up. I mean, they got plenty of things they could work on.
Right.
But one of these days, we're going to have to see a full 40 minutes against a quality team because we haven't yet to see that this year.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Wildcats fall to the Bruins 57-54. More coming up straight ahead along with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden I'm David Kelly coming to you live from Willie's Taco Joint here, right? A missed three-point shot. I'll say that today because that fits. A missed three-point shot away from the Footprint Center because Arizona missed 14 of those in 16 attempts in this game. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Winlow Depot postgame coverage of Arizona basketball rolls on. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The postgame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne, The Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Lexus of Tucson, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling and Plumbing, Rockin' K Master Plan Community designed by nature, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Make Dave & Buster's a part of your weekly rituals. Military Monday, get extra gameplay on your card. Tuesday night is Trivia Night with great prizes. Thursday is extra credit with student discounts on gameplay after 9 p.m. Stop in Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials. Want more? Rewards members will get an extra 100 chips with a purchase of 100 chips and Sunday sips for hospitality workers. Full and quick service restaurants, hotels, and amusement parks. Discounted beverages and apps after 9 p.m. only at Dave & Buster's.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Feed it high now to Love. Caleb looking to drive. Drives on Clark all the way to the bucket. Lay it up and good.
Caleb Love has got to be more aggressive, taking it to the rim. They are defending him to limit the three-point look early in the catch. He's got to be aggressive off the bounce.
Caleb Love today did not shoot the ball well once again. Just 3 of 10. 1 of 7 from 3. 7.6 rebounds. And continues just not to be able to get going offensively. Missed a shot late when the Wildcats' lead was crumbling in a 57-54 loss to the UCLA Bruins. Before we get back to the phones, I wish our guy from the pregame show, Monty, was here, because I want to quickly go to the Goldberg and Osborne injury lawyer scoreboard. He had it right. He was a Navy man, and he said Navy was going to win today. And how about that? Navy beats Army, beats number 22 Army today, 31-13. Pretty impressive. Monty called that one today. He also called, he came pretty close, I think. He called it 75-65, so he wasn't too far off on the score of this game here. He was a Bruin fan, however. 57-54 was the final. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We've had some texts come in. We'll read those. We've had some messages come in on our social media channels. We'll read those, but let's talk to Alfonso first. Alfonso, you're on Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, the postgame show.
Hey, my friends, I hope you're doing well. Hey, DK, I spent 20 years in the Army, and you had to bring up the Army score. Wow, way to go. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been a bad day for you, huh?
Yes, it has. The only good news is I got some tacos here, Los Betos, so hopefully that'll calm my sorrow.
There you go.
But, hey, I'll make this real quick. So Arizona started the year highly ranked, and many believing that we have at least top 10 talent-wise. We have a team that can compete for the Final Four. But my concern is, and I'll just throw this out to you, is the coaching. I mean, we know Tommy Lloyd is a great recruiter, but it just seems that a lot of his game plans and how he looks at the game, how he envisions the team, is very predictable and very single-minded. Like I laughed at the comment earlier about Arizona running a prevent offense, plus also the comment about the new coach knowing what we're going to do. And it just seems that it's chronic. It's something that's happening over and over again. And my concern is this going to continue? Has Tommy Lloyd evolved and he identifies the strengths, the weaknesses of a team? Hey, during the game, I need to make this change because the opposition, they're doing something that we can exploit. It just doesn't seem that way. So I was just saying, is it a knee-jerk reaction that I have? Or is it something...
Well, I don't think that's a knee-jerk reaction at all, Alfonso. I think that's what a lot of people are seeing. Where the and I think it goes to what Kelvin is talking about you have to start running offense. You can't just do what you've been doing. It's clearly not working to this point with this particular ball club, so you have to try something else at some point to get things rolling. To like Kelvin said, get your star going. Because you know you're not going to win. You're not going to win any games. Our guy Fred Scheib texted in. It's like he said, when was the last time Arizona was 0-5 versus Power 5 conference teams? Never. Or he question mark never. If they play 500 ball that'll be the first time in 32 years. You gotta figure this out, offensively as well as defensively.
The problem, guys, is quite simple. It's that when you run the flow offense, when you run a motion offense, and you've got 5 heady dudes out there, Kelvin, they're making reads and adjustments on the fly, and that's making the defense look silly. And we've seen that quite a lot of times. We saw that in his first couple of years because those guys he had on his team were NBA-level players and very smart. If you think about Dalen Terry, made up for a lot of mistakes with his basketball IQ. I'm not saying that there isn't basketball IQ on this year's team, but with those new guys coming in, Townsend is a good example. ISO for 4 years in college, Kelvin. All of the plays were set plays, running ISOs, and getting offense off of those ISOs and that offensive threat. Coming into a flow, you're going to have to make split-second decisions, and all 5 guys on the court have to make the same decision at the same time, and that's what we're seeing right now. It would look great if these guys were all 5 seniors who Kelvin had played together for 4 years under this same system. Would not look like it looks right now. Definitely the coaching staff can make adjustments. I would love to see more set plays. And those guys, whatever 5 guys are out on the court, have to be more connected because that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing a offense that sucks. We're seeing 5 guys that aren't running the offense as it's intended to be run.
Well, one final point is that UCLA and other teams, they're having the same challenge as us. They have new players, new systems, and so forth. Again, the final thing I want to say is that I hope that Tommy Lloyd could have true discussion with his assistants and those around him and ask himself, hey, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to change the mentality, the psychology of those players that look to me for guidance? And at the moment, I just don't see that happen. Hey, thanks for having me on, and I hope you have a great trip, a safe trip back to the
Thank you very much, Alfonso. Appreciate your call.
Bear down, Alfonso.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. Guys, let's jump into what we thought Arizona needed to do to win this game today. We'll review our keys to the game here, as well as the scoreboard coming up later as we continue on with the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day post-game show. Keys to the game.
Wildcats fans, how did today's Keys to the Game go for the Wildcats? Keys to the Game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, I think I went first today. Guys, we talk about, obviously, what type of game this is going to be, defensive-oriented UCLA, and I don't think there's any question that one of the things that's going to determine this game is who's able to control the pace today. And I think if you're the Wildcats, you have to be that team. I mean, Arizona comes in, I believe, in the top 20 in terms of possessions per game, and you've got to be able to stay on that number. I think they're at like about 73% or 73 possessions over 40 minutes. You need to get to that mark and stay with your game in order to have a chance to beat UCLA. And also, I mean, again, I think the thing defensively for Arizona today, it's going to be you want to obviously defend the three-point line, but I think it's more important to not allow their guards to get into the lane and be able to kick to those guys on the outside. I mean, they got 2 guys in Daly Jr., who we just mentioned, and Lazar Stefanovic, who are averaging over 45% shooting 3. So if you let those guards get into the paint and kick out to those guys, it's going to be a long night for Arizona. So definitely do not allow penetration is going to be important today. And I think, Wildcats, again, you got to get the points where you can get them. Transition, dictate the pace, and be able to get maybe some easy buckets from Toby Awaka and those guys off of offensive rebounds. And that's the only way that Arizona, I think, has a chance today. Laz Stefanovic and Eric Daly Jr. took 2 3-point shots, or took 2 3-pointers combined in this game. So they were never a factor from that standpoint today for the UCLA Bruins. Sebastian Mack, Sky Clark, who was my pest of the game, was the guy that hit the threes for them today. He went 3 of 7, making 3 of their 4 in the contest. But
he started 3 of 3, I think, too.
They still dictated the pace.
And 62, DK, was your answer.
62 possessions?
62 possessions for Arizona. And also, Side note, 36% turnover percentage. 36% of the time they had a possession, they turned the ball over.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can't be standing out of bounds. That's clearly not going to work.
Yeah, those lines are there, and they're there for a reason.
Was the NBA court messing them up a little bit?
I don't know, man. Yeah,
because I'm
maybe
going to ask you
so.
this, why
It could
I asked
be.
that. Have you saw that any other time this year?
No.
Well, how many times have you seen Vasar in the corner this
Yeah.
year on that spot up when a driver is looking to kick out to him who's standing in the corner? Because that was the big one. He was standing in the corner, and then he stepped about a half a step back right on the sideline.
Be
Kelvin
interested-
was next.
I don't know that we're going to get post today, but I would be interested to hear if Tommy talked about that specifically. Let's hear from Kelvin's keys.
And my keys to the game are, I think we have the defensive rebound. I think if you let these guys rebound and pass it back out to the three, they're real deadly on those threes because trying to scramble out and find shooters once the shot go up is real tough. So you got to secure those rebounds. Secondly, I think that we have to be ready for the pressures that they are applying. I don't think we've seen many pressures this year. We have ball handlers in Caleb Love and Bradley, but I think that would be smart. I would love to see how we handle the pressure. So be ready for that. And then I think we got to get Caleb Love going, man. I think when Caleb is playing well, I think the other guys on the team follow suit. So I want to see Caleb Love have a good offensive game. And also I want to add this last one. Clean offensive possessions if we don't get the fast break. If the fast break isn't there, that's fine. Run a play and just get a clean shot that the system want to have.
Well, they dominated the boards. I mean, they won the battle of the boards anyway, 34-24 in this game, and it was a good defensive rebounding day, 25. How'd you feel about that, Kelvin?
Yeah, I actually felt good about that. They didn't get a lot of pass back out for threes, and that's what I was worried about with this team. Seems like they shoot their threes a lot better off of the missed shots and wide open from the perimeter.
J-Dub.
Number one for me is discipline because we already know what Cronin's defense is going to bring. Physical, intense, aggressive defense. They're always really usually very connected. So you just got to make sure that you make smart reads and don't do too much. I mean, we're trying to keep it simple. Just make sure that you read what the defense is doing, take care of the ball, no dumb turnovers. Number two, you got to stay, like DK said, like both you said, you got to stay in front of those guards on the drives and stay with the shooters. We've seen issues this year with U of A losing some shooters, especially in the corners. Just make sure. That's a lot of what Cronin's teams like to do is drive and kick. So make sure that you stay with those guys and let them get hot early. And number three, typical, I just want to see a lot of extra passes. I want to see shot fakes, ball fakes, defensive aggression. Kelvin knows this, leads to a lot of back doors are going to be open, that kind of thing. If you are just patient with those offensive half-court possessions and make sure that you find the extra man, those hockey assists, I'd like to see at least, it's going to be a lower scoring game, but I'd like to see somewhere between 18, maybe even 20 assists. Those are my keys today versus the Bruins. 11 and 22, guys. 11 assists and 22 turnovers. That's a 1-2.
That has to be the most
That's
since he's been here.
That's bad. I'm looking at the expanded stats, guys, and the one thing that I'm taking away from this, we've already discussed this quite a bit today, but 11 for 16 on layups, 4 for 4 on dunks, 5 for 5 on dunks, excuse me. So 11 for 16, Kelvin, on layups, 5 for 5 on dunks. That should just tell you everything you need to know. Like, all the success was coming right inside the paint, and they just went away from it down the stretch that last 10 minutes.
Away from, and I didn't get to say anything about, I didn't feel like we got Caleb Love going.
Yeah.
Yes, he got 3-point attempts, but did we get him going?
Nope. Not all season. Not all season. Like you said, that's the big thing now. How do you
I would
you got to
like to
devise
see-
a way that's I think that's the thing that I think that's the number one thing moving forward is you got to do something.
I want to see guys get Caleb going, and I want to see Caleb get the guys going.
Because it'll come off of that.
Right.
Because we've seen him do it. Once he starts playing well, it just seems like the other guys.
Come on, Kelvin. We know how much confidence you had yourself in as a freshman, but you're on the court with Damon freaking Stoudemire. I mean, how much confidence do you get from a dude that just cannot be stopped?
Oh man, it's over the top. I mean, I remember the time I told you I made the three and coach took me out, and it was because I was wide open and I took the shot, but coach wanted me to run the clock down and get that shot later in the clock because we wanted UCLA that was USC that time. We wanted USC to have to, work a little bit on the defensive end and not feel like they're taking Damon away. And I was just saying that Coach went out of his way to get Damon going, went out of his way. And maybe that's where I'm coming from. That's where I come from. Right, J-Dub? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He went out his way to get Damon or Khalid them going. You get the ball to them, and we're going to play off of those guys. And again, it's great to have a free-flowing offense where you have all the guys be effective. But my problem sometimes with that is that shot selection. Guys seem to just take – you saw it right there with guys taking those threes. That's at the wrong time. I'm sure Coach don't mind them taking threes, but I bet he'll tell them, not when the game is within 10. Not now. Yeah. Not now. Not in the close games, okay? Yes, all those guys practice threes. Come on. As a coach now, you have to practice positionless basketball. So everybody, and for it to be positionless, everybody has to shoot threes. I think that's what that means.
Yep.
Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right?
Handle the ball and shoot threes, yeah.
Right. So I just feel like that, man, I would love to be proven wrong with running some of them set plays and see how well the guys play off of them. I would just love to be proven wrong a couple times.
Yeah, like that whole thing, Kelvin, where you got a guy like Caleb and you run a double, like a ball screen, and then have a secondary guy come up and help it off of whatever switch happens right there, and Caleb's got a downhill. You run that play 10 times in a row, that whole thing, until they force a way to stop it, by bringing a third defender up, and then the wide open three comes from the corner, whatever that might be. I think I completely agree that Caleb Love has to find a way to get it going early, start feeling himself, and then everybody starts feeling themselves.
Flow off of that. Yeah. And I'll say this last thing. You set those screens just to get a switch because maybe he can't get by the guy that's guarding him initially. Maybe you can. That guy may
then
be
you got
a great
6'1" guy on Townsend.
And you got your best guy, your best defender on Love. You know that. So you got to rub him off. You have to get screens to wear that guy down, to beat that guy up, to force that guy to have to work to take a guy away like Caleb, because right now, if you look at the offense, he kind of, stands around a little bit and guys just can deny him. And I'm like, no, we need more action to make these guys work at having to take him away.
And those were our keys to the game.
Wildcats fans, that's a look at your keys to the game. They're brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, real quick before we let you get out of here, Kelvin, I want to, and we kind of have mentioned this a couple times, but I don't know if we've really gotten into the fact that Tommy left this game with a timeout in his pocket, and I know that was something that I talked to a number of people here after the game that didn't really quite understand why he didn't take a timeout at all during that last stretch. And I want to say that part of it might have been, you remember it got kind of quirky there where there was a bunch of timeouts in a row that we actually had to take time. We took that timeout where Jaden saved the ball, and I think that came right before another timeout, or right after another timeout had been taken. So there were like two that were taken kind of around that 8-minute mark that kind of stubbed the flow of the game during that point. And I'm wondering if you guys thought maybe that was part of the reason why Tommy didn't take a timeout down the stretch. And then it was like, I think the game got down into almost close to 2 minutes before that under 4 even came.
And you know what I think happened? A lot of times coaches just like their guys to play it out because you don't want to call a timeout and help the defense set up their defense. So a lot of times as coaches, you want to trust your guys and kind of let them play it out. In that situation, you kind of already have it planned out who's going to get the ball and, what type of play you're going to run. And one thing I know about Coach Lloyd, he trusts what he does. He trusts what he's been doing and how he's been doing it. So I didn't expect for him to call a timeout there. I expected to let him play. Coach Olsen used to do that a lot, just kind of let your guys play. But when your guys are struggling like that, I don't know, man. How much time was left before I say anything? Was it 6?
Well, here's exactly how it went down.
That was I misstated that. I think those timeouts were closer to the 12 than the 8.
No, here's exactly how it went down. Bradley stole it half court. The timeout was with 12:06 to go on the clock. Then 4 minutes later, Tyler Bilodeau started doing crazy damage, and Tommy called a timeout with 8:54 on the clock. That was their second of the half. Right. So that's why they had the one left over And again, like, that's one of those deals where you can't get the ball in, Kelvin. You got the ball inbounding a sideline. You got to have a timeout in that situation. So that's why you hold it till the end. I think that second timeout with 8:54 was just to reassess how we're going to guard Tyler Bilodeau because he was starting to do major damage. That's the timeout that got taken there. 8:54. It's not the under 12, under 16, under 8 in the second half, right? But at the same time, maybe dead ball, you get your guys over and talk to them about that. But that was 2 timeouts within 4 minutes, DK, is how that went down.
And so they actually went from – so there was the 8-minute timeout came right at 8. But there was not another immediate timeout till 2:18. So there was almost a full 6 minutes. And the Wildcats at the under 8, they were up by 9, and then by the time they got to the 2:18 timeout, they were at that point the game was tied. Or actually, they were down. I think. It was tied at that particular point. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some debate there of should he have taken another timeout. But you think the 4 is coming up, but then it doesn't because of play. It doesn't come for another 2 minutes, and it stretches out that period there. So.
I mean, there's a couple of conversations going on here. Number one, like, they didn't have Toby Walk in the game to guard the post, right?
Right.
Kelvin, so that's why they're having issues. Thibodeau was about to go crazy because they were going to start running that same thing over and over again. And so he was getting his guys back on the same page to make sure they understand how they were going to guard those sets, those actions. And that's where that timeout took place with 8:54. Then the question becomes, well, now only got 1 left. And if something crazy happens down the stretch, like, again, 10 seconds left, you got to inbound the ball, you need a timeout there. That's why they saved it during that secondary stretch.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Kelvin?
Again, it's not the end of the world. I've heard a couple people, it's going to be hard to get in the tournament. No, it's not. You play in the Big 12. And you have to go play well, and you needed to play well anyway if you want to have any success coming out of the Big 12. So, hey, you got to roll up your sleeves, got to knuckle up, and got to go in this Big 12 ready to fight, struggling a little bit. But if you really go and look at the tape, you're going to be able to look and see that there are some things, and it's not just it's not offensive. I ain't going to say I'm not going to blame it on the offensive side of the court. The guys are going to look at tapes, and you go look at tapes of all these games, West Virginia, Duke game. Guys have been a little tougher than you, and you're going to have to end up being a little tougher to be successful in this conference that we're in now. We're going to have that just almost a fighter's type of attitude playing in this conference. So I think these L's are going to end up helping us out at the end of the day, maybe not towards getting to the NCAA, but making our guys realize what type of fight is going to be able to be successful in the Big 12.
Real quick, DK, before we let Kelvin go, 0-5 against Power 4 conference teams is terrible. Duke is 8-2, Wisconsin is 9-3, Oklahoma is 9-0, West Virginia is 8-2, and UCLA is 9-1. So all 5 of those losses that they have, none of those are going to be considered by the committee to be quote-unquote bad losses. These are all good teams they lost. Now, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying, for those guys following people out there that think 0-5 versus Power 4 means you're not ever making the tournament or whatever, those are all considered quality losses because those are all good teams that they played so far this year.
That's right.
All right, Kelvin, we'll see you on Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. All right, guys. See you guys. Bear down.
All right.
Bear down, Kelvin.
It is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. We are at Willie's Taco Joint. There's no other events happening downtown tonight. So the crowd has thinned out here after a 57-54 win for the UCLA Bruins over the Arizona Wildcats. We'll take a break here, and we've got more straight ahead. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
With cooler weather on the way, many of us are turning on our furnaces for the first time this season. We hope everything runs smoothly, but if you notice strange noises, frequent cycling, or no heat at all, give Rightway a call. Right now, we're offering a complete system tune-up for just $65, plus a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Don't wait till it's too late. Call Rightway, 520-549-1914 to schedule your $65 complete system tune-up.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal...
Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain, Kelvin Efon, and J.W. Madden.
Back to Basar and to Bradley. Tommy Lloyd saying, don't push it here, just find your right shot. Bradley through the lane, laid up and good. Nobody stopped him. Jaden Bradley on fire.
Controlling the game tonight, especially with the dribble in the last two possessions.
Yeah, that was when Jaden was absolutely cooking for Arizona. He finished with 12 points, but man, he did everything tonight. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals. Like we said, the two things he didn't do was he didn't maybe get Caleb involved like we'd like to see and hope to see moving forward, and he didn't close it as he missed his last 3 shots. And the Wildcats fall to UCLA 57-54. All right, I caught up with some fans here at Willie's Taco Joint after the game. Let's hear some of the reaction to the loss by U of A.
I'm Eric Brown. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and it was disappointing that the Cats let a 13-point lead slip away.
What did you think went wrong down the stretch?
They couldn't.
They missed a timeout. There's somewhere where they should have called a timeout.
They couldn't shoot the ball.
And they suck shooting.
Yeah.
Shooters. Cable Love had 7 points, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Double check that.
It was disappointing, but they'll come on strong.
How about you, sir? What'd you think?
Very disappointing. With a 13-point lead, you don't give that up, especially when you have the momentum and you have the home crowd.
Yeah, we had those two things.
Guys, we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
All right. Some of the fans that were here after
Missed
the
a
ball
timeout.
game,
Missed a
they
timeout.
Missed a timeout. Exactly. Well, a lot of people thought, that he should have taken that timeout at some point down that stretch. Or again, that's like I said, it was 6 minutes without a timeout because the under 4 didn't come to almost 2 minutes to go in the game. But did not happen, as you said. Probably best to keep that last time. If that was that was the last timeout, J-Dub, that they had, so you definitely
I think it's three. Yeah, three per.
Hold that to the end.
Three per. You have to have one timeout for an emergency in the last minute. Crazy stuff happens in the last minute. So basically, the one with JB on the sideline where he saved possession, that's a good one. Then they had to take a second one to deal with the inside presence from UCLA, and that was the one. That was about 3 minutes. That was, as you said, 59 seconds before the media timeout would have happened. So that's a question. The question there is, do you hold off on that one and maybe have 2 in your pocket? But it is what it is.
Our guy Fred Scheib checks in. UCLA was pushing, grabbing, holding on D. Arizona finally realized refs letting most fouls go, started keeping the ball out of reach on O, hitting back on D. Blue 13-point lead. Arizona always finds a way. This team always finds a way to lose. Glad this team waited until after my mom passed away. I'm sure it's a lot easier to handle how disappointing these boys, not men, are to everyone. Wow. Okay, Fred. This is not an NCAA tournament team. Are any of them worth keeping for next season? That's Fred Scheib checking in. He said at this rate, no power conference wins. 0-22 in the Big 12. Any Big 12 wins will be upsets. Maybe Lloyd was just lucky. Maybe he just survived on Sean Miller's players and Gonzaga. That's Fred Scheib checking in tonight with his thoughts. Let's give you your scoreboard for today.
Let's take a look at what's happening today around the rest of the country. Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, we mentioned earlier the Army-Navy game. Navy gets the win tonight. They're 9-3. They beat Army. They sang second today, as our guy Monty Guerrero said that they would. Final score there was 31-13. The midshipmen over the cadets today in the Army-Navy game. Top 25, these are the finals on the board. How about number 5, Kentucky? They beat Louisville at home today, 93-85, and that's a rivalry game. A lot of rivalry games today. Xavier and Cincinnati. Cincinnati gets the best of Sean Miller as number 22 Bearcats win it 68-65. I don't see anything that looks like any fighting that went on there, so that's always a good thing in that one. How about Memphis? Memphis continues to get big wins. Penny Hardaway fired half his staff right before the season started, and they're 8-2. They win in overtime, beating number 16 Clemson 87-82. So Penny seems to have found the mix. Number 17 Texas A&M over number 11 Purdue 70-66 today. Number 2 Auburn beat Ohio State 91-53. It was Ole Miss over Southern Miss, another rivalry game there, 77-46, in-state rivalry. Arizona State got taxed at the Holiday Hoopsgiving. They got no wishbone at all out of that. Number 9 Florida beats the Sun Devils 83-66. ASU, though, is still 8-2 on the year. Number 10 Kansas beat North Carolina State 75-60, and it was 20th ranked Wisconsin over Butler 83-74. Those are the finals. And then that game we were talking about earlier, number 1 Tennessee, that's gone to overtime now. It's overtime 64-64. How about this? Justin Gainey, whose dad used to coach at U of A, and he helped, Jordan Gainey. Dad used to coach at U of A. He helped South Point Catholic win a state championship. He's got 21 points in that game. 3 of 6 from 3, 8 of 9 from the floor. 21 points for Jordan Gainey, who's gotten a lot more playing time on that team this year for Tennessee. Colin Boswell, 10 points on 0 for 3 shooting from 3 and 2 of 8 from the floor.
That's just the number one curse, DK. Remember last year, what was it? Purdue got their first ever in the history of their school 2 years ago. They got the number 1 ranking and lost the next week.
Yeah.
And I think that happened for 5 consecutive weeks last year. Not that teams got their first ever number 1 ranking, but their first 1 ranking of the year. And everybody kept flip-flopping. So Tennessee voted as the number 1 team this week. All of a sudden come into some issues against the Fighting Illini.
Other finals in the Big 12, West Virginia over Bethune-Cookman 84-61. Central Florida beat Tulsa 88-75. Those are the only other games involving non-ranked teams that are final. Utah is leading Radford at the half 40-31. Later on, number 13 Oklahoma will host rival Oklahoma State. That is in Oklahoma City at the Paycom Center where the Thunder play. And at the Delta Center with Jazz play tonight, BYU is playing and hosting Wyoming. That wraps things up on your Big 12 conference scoreboard. 57-54, number 24 UCLA knocks off Arizona here as we are the beasts and the burdens. Yep, that's kind of how you feel after this one. We'll take one final time out, come back and wrap it up from Phoenix. After this, you're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Our Black Friday week of savings has been extended into December. Right now, every set of tires is on sale and you can stack on manufacturer's rebates for even more savings, up to $180 more. We've also got popular maintenance services at up to 50% off to get you road trip ready for all your holiday travel. Jack Furrier's 14 area locations are ready to help. So call, stop by, or visit us online at jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Don't hold back.
just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead, live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
Our Window Depot coverage on the Wildcats rolls on. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day postgame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
I just like Bud Light, so just, have a beer after the game.
Who was that? I don't remember that one.
That was Brittany Griner.
Oh, Brittany Griner.
I just like Bud Light, so just, have a beer after the game.
I remember that, Brittany Griner, yeah. I think it's going to be a Dos Equis Amber after the game, at least for me. What are you going to have after the game? What's going to be your drown your sorrows choice of imbibement?
Probably Sierra Nevada tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of Sierra since '93, I think it was '92 when I lived up there, and yeah, I mean, I like a good hoppy beer, so something like that. Probably some single malt will be mixed in as well.
There you go. Before we get out of here, I do want to read one more message that we got tonight about this. Of course, K-Dub, we have J-Dub, and then K-Dub likes to chime in on the YouTube string. Bring in mid-major talent, you get mid-major results. Love looks like he doesn't want to play ball anymore. He's just going through the motions to keep his NIL money. Tommy can't coach in game. He is lost. This loss is 100% on Tommy Lloyd. Love is disinterested and mad that he's not in the NBA right now. That's K-Dub chiming in.
I got something to say about that.
Okay.
Here's the issue, DK, is that Caleb Love came back, Del Orso came here, Trey Townsend came here, all for the same reason, which is to improve their draft stock, right? Now, you know who doesn't get looks from NBA draft scouts? Teams that are 0-5 versus Power 5 teams. So whatever it is that you're trying to do individually to impress the scouts who are saying you're not doing this enough, you're not doing this enough, guess what? It doesn't matter if you become perfect at those things they're looking for you to do. If the team's 0-5 versus quality opponents, again, that's also going to count against your draft stock. So whatever they got to do to come together and win college basketball games, not interview and try to show, like, for instance, if a guy has never been known as a three-point shooter, DK, and they're trying to prove that they can make that shot as a detriment to the team, open looks are great, but whatever it takes, they have to come together. And I'll say the same thing I said after the last loss. You ready? The worst thing they can do is point fingers. The worst thing that we could have in that locker room is guys blaming other guys. This is a team loss. It's on the coaching staff. It's on every single player, as is every single loss that they ever have. So as far as I'm concerned, those guys need to lift each other up, stay positive, get back to the, go and work on whatever you need to work on, but come back as a group, because the only way they're going to win games moving forward in that really tough conference they just entered, DK, is by playing together as a team. So whatever that means, get to the basket more, find each other, and play a free, open style of basketball, because it's just a little bit tight right now.
It is, and you're back to a two-game week with a game Wednesday against Samford, and then Saturday against Central Michigan, and then Monday, that following Monday, I believe. I'm sorry, no, you'll have about a week off after that Saturday game before they play. I believe after Christmas will be the next game after that on the 28th. But two games coming up this week against mid-majors to try to figure some things out. Couple of real quick things on the Goldberg and Osborne scoreboard. Couple of updates for you. The NBA Cup has come to an end, and to the winner goes the spoils. The Milwaukee Bucks knock off the Atlanta Hawks 110 to 102. I'm sorry, am I reading?
That's a semis, yeah.
Oh, semifinals.
Yeah, so Milwaukee is now in the
Bucks
final.
are in the finals. Okay.
And later tonight, in about half an hour, Houston and OKC are playing.
I thought I was like, wait a minute, that didn't look right, that headline to me. So yeah, so the Bucks are in the finals.
The Bucks are the Eastern representative.
Yes.
We're waiting on the West.
The West, Rockets and Thunder. That'll be coming up a little bit later. Celebration Bowl today. Jackson State beats South Carolina State 28-7. There's another bowl game tonight. It's the Salute to Veterans Bowl. We love to salute our veterans, and that is South Alabama versus Western Michigan. And did you hear, J-Dub, that Marshall is they had to opt out because they don't have enough players?
I did, and I also heard that it's so late in the process that they might not be able to find a substitute for that bowl game.
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm thinking to myself, would they let a 4-8 Arizona? Remember a couple years ago we were like, oh, there was like the Jetfish team that had 5 wins. There was talk that maybe they might try to look for some 5-win teams to play in a couple of bowl opportunities. You think?
DK, I don't want to have to be the bearer of bad news for you, but the U of A might not have a full team to be able to put on field right now.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think guys are coming out of the portal to play in a bowl game. One final stat for you. This is Blair Willis put this one out. Blair is always great with the numbers, former SID over at U of A. The Cats are making only 30% of their three-point field goals this season. That ranks 288th nationally and is on track to be the lowest three-point field goal percentage at the U of A since the title team in 1997.
Yeah, those guys are mid-rangers.
Yeah.
With the really timely threes, but yeah, a lot of mid-range damage from that guard trio.
All right. Any final thoughts, J-Dub?
No, I think I already said it, DK. I mean, I'm a always eternal positive person. I'm an optimist, so I still see a lot of talent on this team. It's too bad to hear the news about Krivas being out indefinitely.
Yeah.
That's a big blow. We haven't really talked about that. Yeah. But yeah, I still think that this team has, talent at enough positions to be able to be a contender and do things in conference and also in March. They just have to get together and figure out what that is. I think we laid it out pretty thick. I mean, when you take 12 jump shots and get one at the rim in the last 10 minutes of a game in which you don't score a single field goal, the simple solution to that is get to the rim.
There you go.
That's my final thought.
All right, that's going to wrap up our coverage from Phoenix. We want to thank all the folks up here at Willie's Taco Joint for having us. Eric Stoltz and his fabulous staff. They've just brought me some food to eat once I get done here.
Also, real quick, DK, in case anybody missed the interviews we had earlier in the pregame with the staff up there, they are available on our website.
Yes. John as well up here, and Andy, who was here this morning bright and early to open up the place for us, got here earlier than normal. We apologize to the people over at the Footprint Center. I sent them a message that we weren't coming, but apparently they did not get that, so I apologize to them.
I think the building manager is kind of cross with you.
Yeah,
that's
well, they sent 2 people over here, like wanting to know what the story was during the pregame show. I was like, I showed them the emails. I said I responded on Thursday, but I was responding to a nameless, faceless person that with whoever the folks were that were putting on this event. So I apologize if the message did not get to y'all, but this is where we are. So thanks to Eric, Andy, John, and everybody over here for having us once
again. And Maddie, too.
And Maddie, absolutely. Maddie
From
is a part of the family.
Senior Palm Line, University of Arizona.
Exactly.
Since she was a freshman. That was a good name.
Right. 4-year Palm Line member, Maddie Stoltz. So congratulations and continued success. She'll be on the floor, I think she said, for the Baylor game coming up when we get to Big 12 conference play. Thanks to everybody that was a part of these broadcasts today. Dusty Dale on the FM side, Lath St. Clair on our scoreboards. And as always, most of all, thanks to you for listening. It did not end the way that the Wildcats wanted it to today as they fall to the UCLA Bruins. I don't think this attendance I'm seeing here is correct. It says 8,437. I think there were probably way more people in that building than 8,437. But let me check one more real quick here and see if they have a different number on this one here. because that cannot be possibly right.
Yeah, that's the number I saw too. I was surprised because I thought 10 is what they said they're expecting, and I saw 8 was what I saw.
That is correct. 8,437. It seemed like there were more people in the building than that tonight, but maybe there were a lot of empty seats, but it's still seeing. I mean, there were a lot of folks here. Terry Francona was here. Torey Lavello was here. Chip Hale, so you had a lot of baseball people. Kevin Ginkel was in the house today. Mike Bibby was here. Oh, gosh, there was who else I'm trying to think was here today. Just a lot of dignitaries, to be sure, for both of these teams. Torey Lavello, obviously, manager of the Diamondbacks, who's a UCLA guy. So there was a lot of high-level folks. Pavin Smith from the Diamondbacks, Alec Thomas from the Diamondbacks were both at the game today. So it was good to see a lot of folks coming out and supporting college basketball and the University of Arizona and UCLA at this game today.
Real quick before you go, I did just read that the University of Tennessee women's team, did you see that?
No.
They set the record, DK, for the most three-pointers made by a women's team in NCAA history, 30 out of 63.
Wow.
They made the previous record was 26 made threes. Tennessee Volunteers, Lady Volunteers tonight made 30 3-pointers. So maybe you need to borrow some of that and bring it over here to Tucson because 30 is a lot more than 2.
Wow, 30 3-pointers. That is really, really impressive for 10. They got a new coach this year, so maybe that's what things are turning around there for the Volunteers. We'll give you one more score before we go. As you say, one more. NIVC, the other semifinal game, St. John's is leading Bowling Green 2-0. They're in the third set. If St. John's wins, it'll be St. John's in Arizona for the NIVC title, either in New York or in Arizona, and likely on Tuesday. We'll have that information for you on our social media. We should know, I would imagine, later tonight. As soon as this match gets done, they're in the third set right now, and St. John's is winning early. But stay with us, Wildcats Radio, 1290 on Facebook, at Wildcats 1290 on Twitter, and we'll have that information for you on when that next match will be. Now we will say goodnight from Willie's Taco Joint in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, giving you that final score one more time. No Wild About the Cats tonight because UCLA beats Arizona 57-54. For J.W. Madden and Calvin Ifan, I'm David Kelly. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you, DK on the Sports Tip, 3 o'clock on Monday. Bear down, Arizona.
Our Window Depot postgame coverage of Arizona basketball rolls on. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The postgame show is brought to you by